Hey, Dr. Matt here. So, there are things that we, as an Ango family, my last name is Angove, that we do as a family, and there's things that we don't do as a family. You know, for instance, like we don't make fun of others, we don't lie, we don't gloat over our achievements. You know, like we did something great, and we don't go like tell everybody. We don't have a sour attitude. We don't eat store-bought cake, but we do eat Mimi's homemade birthday cake. Do we do all those things perfectly all the time? Of course not. But these are things that we try to instill in our children. And we do, our kids know, we do give generously. We do, as a family, not give up. We do challenging things, hard things. We give our best effort. Just because we don't know how to do something doesn't mean we can't learn how to do something. And, we always back each other up. We give each other the benefit of the doubt. And if somebody is like saying bad stuff about us, about one of the kiddos, about one of the siblings, then we expect that the other siblings are going to help their sibling out. So often, before our kids get a homemade cookie or dessert, we say to them that before they're going to get it, they got to go run, laps, or they do burpees, or they do so many jump ropes, or so many air squats, or some other rope climb, some physical activity before they can have that dessert. Or maybe it's just they got to get the house cleaned up, or get things in order in their toy room before they get to hit up that tasty treat or item that they've been really wanting, or is available to them. We don't tell them, hey, you're about to eat 120 calories. You need to go burn that off before you eat it. We got to get your metabolism going before you eat that dessert or whatever. No, we want them to be conscious eaters. We want them to understand that there's a difference between the food that sustains them, the food, what they eat for breakfast, what they eat for lunch, what they eat for dinner, that food that sustains them and nourishes them, and these extracurricular foods, the snack made by their grandma or their great-grandma or their mom, or dessert that they created themselves, that these desserts are for celebration, that these are, things that we don't do every single day. We don't make sugar cookies all year round, girls, just at Christmas time, just with Mimi, right? Because once Christmas time is over, guess what? Sugar cookies are gone. We don't see them again until next year. We don't eat birthday cake all year round. Though, given the size of my family, it would seem like once a month we almost have birthday cake. So we got to be careful about that. All the more reason we never get store-bought birthday cake. We always make it from home, from scratch, loaded with good ingredients. Because, junk food is available 24/7. Our kids don't have, they don't have to earn anything in our house, right? We own it all. They're our kids. They don't have to earn it. We gladly provide for them nourishing food to eat, and we gladly teach them the difference between what is nourishing food and what would be, fast food, granola bars, crackers, chips, cookies, soda pop, which they will never have under our roof, hopefully. But my mother-in-law, it was in town, and she made the girls this bread called Sopf. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. The Swiss bread, which is something they made for special occasions when she was growing up. And so it's kind of cool, it's all like this braided bread stuff, make it from scratch, pretty awesome. But one thing she was saying was that when they were growing up, that the only time they were allowed to have this bread, and you got to make it from scratch, right, is occasionally on Sundays or on really special occasions. See, like Christmas or Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving for them, but like whatever, they're like August 1st, their Swiss Independence Day kind of thing. Otherwise, they weren't getting this special Sopf bread. And I think that's one thing, in our culture, we got to train our kids. They need to be able to understand what is truly nourishing food and what is special occasion food. Because otherwise, like I said, the 24/7 availability of all manner of food, it can make it challenging to maintain, victory when it comes to food inputs. And, staying out of the aisle that is just continual pseudo foods hitting our being over and over and over again and leading to, disease, dysfunction, and duress. Because our kids are our kids, right? And they've been with us. We've been with them, supporting them, encouraging them, teaching them, training them, helping them, having their back. We play hide and seek with them. We do Tickle Monster with them. We take them to their games. We do workouts with them. We prepare food with them, provide them clothing to wear, a house to live under. We do all this for them. And so guess what? Since day one, they trust us. They know those hugs are real. They know if anybody in the world has their best interest in mind, it's me. It's their mom. So same thing goes for your kids. So when we say that we don't eat food coloring because it is not real food and it hurts our health, at least my children, our children, they go, okay. And when food coloring shows up at the birthday party, they pass on it. In fact, they will call it out because they understand that is not real food. That is not to their benefit. They don't make a big fuss about it because that's just something that our family doesn't participate in. We don't participate in high fructose corn syrup. We don't participate in vegetable oils. We don't participate in food colorings. I would say food colorings is one that the girls really, really know strongly that just does not happen, mostly because they can see it with their eyes, right? And they'll even look on packaging and say, like, that's not organic. We're not going to go that way. Which, granted, I know organic isn't like the best thing, or that, whoa, it's organic, it's got to be good for us by any means. So many snack items out there are organic, but are still devoid of all manner of health value. But even soccer games, you just get inundated by all this snack stuff. And so what happens is my girls, because we've taught them, trained them in this manner, they'll ask me, like, can we have this? Should we have this? And if I say, nah, let's not do that, guess what? They're okay with it. And 99% of the time, I give them some other kind of option that I know they'll like, and will make them not feel awkward or weird when other people are having all this stuff. But otherwise, they're going to go with the flow, and they're going to wish later on in life that they would have gone with the flow, right? Just like I do. So, at our church this past summer, we had these church services outside, and part of that was they give the kids these little paper bags with crayons and paper and a snack item in there, right? So our kids are at a church service, sitting with us for like an hour and a half. They already had breakfast, and now they're giving them a snack to eat, food to eat during that time frame. So amazingly enough, without us even saying anything, my girls, without hesitation, they just go into the bag, grab the snack, granola bar, fruit snack, pretzel stuff, whatever it is, and they give it to me. Even our 3-year-olds would do this to us. In fact, they did it the summer before last too, and that was when our twins were 2 years old. And it made me so proud. I'm not going to lie. They'd be like, "Here, Daddy," and they'd hand over the goodies, and we just thut them in another bag for somebody else who really desires that, or who wants to have it. I guess somebody got like a bag full of 8 or 7 candies in it, kind of thing. But that's no big deal for them, because just that's what they've learned. That's the behavior they've learned, and it can be for any kid if it's presented to them in a way that, hey, you know what? Sure, that stuff looks good. I'm sure it tastes good too, but guess what? That stuff isn't going to help your health. You're going to have less energy. You're going to be more tired. You're not going to be able to run as fast as you want to run if you're consuming that stuff all the time. And Daddy wishes so bad that he was that age, he didn't consume that stuff, because it would make him so much stronger and healthier, and your immune system is going to be so much better if you don't consume those kind of stuff. So it's not that they can't have those things. It is that we don't participate in those things. Very different. You can't. It's not going to go over very well with people. Many people have messaged me and said to me that they let their children have these things because they don't want their kids, to end up with an eating disorder, which that's definitely valid. I mean, nobody wants their children to have an eating disorder, mine included. But I think we're missing it, because what I believe many of us are failing to recognize is that training our children to eat things that are not real food, that are, fast food, that food colorings loaded with corn syrups, Captain Crunch, Capri Suns, Costco hot dogs, cakes, pizzas, Skittles, these are creating a nervous system disconnect, because our children know that we love them unconditionally, we desire the very best for them, and yet at the same time, we are creating this emotional confusion because we're giving them foods that do the exact opposite to them, right? We're paying for food that is actually leading to pain in their bodies and creating, duress in their nervous system. So the very people that love them and care for them the most beyond anybody else in all creation are willingly permitting them, in fact, paying for them to be harmed. I know this is intense right now. I know this is super intense, or you can feel intense, but not to worry. We can all change our patterns at any given moment. We can all, start now in talking to our children about what is real food, what is not real food. Unfortunately, we have to have this talk. Children need to know that these foods are harming them, and these foods are helping them. These foods are causing them to grow and to build up. Think about it. This is just a battle. And, I don't want my kids to be battling food later on in life. And I don't want to be battling. I wish I'd have the battles that I face day in and day out trying to stay away from sugar, just because of the amount of sugar I consumed as a kid. So if we constantly put before our kids, good stuff, whole foods, meat, vegetables, fruit, nuts, and seeds, and we decrease the amount of chips, crackers, breads, pastas, fake creams, cakes, donuts, man, our kids are going to be the beacon of health hope that we so desire, and they're going to surpass the expectations of the standard American kid because they're not following the standard American way of doing things. And I know this is all kind of intense. It's I eat tons of food as a kid, as a teenager, tons of junk food, and I so wish that I wouldn't have, that I would have this understanding, that I would have this knowledge, that even my parents would have this knowledge, which it really isn't for them to be blamed, because so many of us we're just ignorant to the fact why we would expect that a food manufacturer would make real good whole foods thinking that we want to benefit the human we're making this food for. Unfortunately, now we all know, or majority of us, some are still ignorant to this fact, we know they are not there for our best interests. They're there for one reason, that's just to make money. And they're going to figure out whatever way they can to make money and still call it food. So if you're ignorant to the fact that these items are devoid of health value, and that they more closely resemble like some artistic cardboard than actual food, please not to worry. Today's your day. May your eyes be open, your ears hear. You are filled up with the knowledge and power you need to give your kids, your children, the best possible opportunity to thrive in their health. Challenged as it might be, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be the opposite direction of where everybody else is going. But if you feel like, man, I don't know what to do, reach out to me, man, message us, email us. I would love to answer your questions. I would love to support you in helping build your family up in the best way possible, especially when it comes to food, because that is one thing we can base all control is food. A lot of noise out there that we can't control, but food we can control. So for those who are ignorant, you can say, hey, this is judgment, or I'm being judgmental, or it just doesn't work that way. But the likely reason you are allowing those thoughts to percolate, to have residence in your head, in your mind, is because if you start training your children to know what is best for them, that they're probably going to start calling you out. And the thing that they're going to start saying, hey, mom, hey, dad, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Right? You shouldn't be doing that. And that calling out, it's going to pull us all higher, which is going to be a blessing to your health just as much as it's going to be a blessing to their health. So the sneaking of cookies, the sneaking of donuts, the sneaking of white chocolate mochas, man, it's going to be tough when the kids know what's the real thing and what's not the real thing when it comes to food. So it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to maybe feel weird, maybe feel out of place. I'll admit, I don't feel out of place one bit helping my kids excel in life, though. Not one bit. I want my children to excel. And so it's easy for me to say, nah, kids, we're going to pass on those candy bars. We're going to pass on the whatever it is, the granola bars, the Rice Krispie treats, the pseudo foods, the Capri Suns, the Sunny Delights. It's just because I want my kids to excel, which I know you do too. So whether it's saying you have a zero pornography policy or a zero food coloring policy or a zero corn syrup policy, whatever it is, these all create addiction, and we want to keep our kids away from things that are creating addiction, that erode their health, that erode the very best life they could possibly live. I mean, think about it. If we don't train them now as our children, then these biochemists, these marketing geniuses at these big, food companies like General Mills, they are the ones that are going to train our children, and our kids will just be swept up in food addiction. And it's going to be like the cafeterias at school or their Sunday school classes with all the, goldfish and that kind of thing. And it's their friends who will teach them what is good and what is bad. That's already been a problem in our society, right? We already know that's a big, big, big problem. If the parents teach the kids, it works out really good. If everybody else tries to teach the kids, it tends to be a problem. So if we start out now, we can help our kids prevent, lifestyle diseases, dysfunction, and just be released from a general sense of just helplessness that, is all the rage really in the industrialized world, is helplessness related to our health. And it doesn't need to be that way. Our kids can be empowered to know what is real, what's not real, and make choices that are in line with what is optimal food for their being. So hopefully you know by now that training isn't yelling at our kids or telling them that they're terrible for eating junk food or there's something wrong with them or what's the deal with you, why can't you just learn. That's not going to help them out. That's not how you respond. Training is going to be describing to them what is a real food, why mommy and daddy eat these real foods, where it comes from, how we know it's a real food, because it comes from a tree, comes from the ground, it comes from an animal that we killed or we shot with a bow and arrow. It doesn't come from a laboratory somewhere. It doesn't come from this big, colorful box with all these little Martians on it. So those little orange fish, those Ritz crackers, those are not real foods because those are made up. They're made up foods. They're not real food. So training them to eat real food over and over again, do it in front of them, be the example. It's us putting real food, whole foods on the table at dinner, night after night, us consuming us enjoying them. Also, if we don't tell them don't eat this because it will make you fat. That is exactly how you create disorders. You want to create an eating disorder? Tell kids that. Talk about food like it'll make you fat, it'll make you skinny. Bad idea. Fat is relative. We don't want our children gaining confidence or self-worth based on external validations like how people perceive them, how people see them, what their exterior body looks like. That's so short-sighted. If you can instruct your kids on how some foods will make them weaker, some foods will make them stronger, some foods will, help them think and remember things better. They'll be able to maybe potentially read more quickly, understand concept better. Some foods will help them concentrate better. Some foods will make it harder for them to concentrate. Some foods will make it easier for them to have a good attitude. Some foods will make it harder for them to have a good attitude. Some foods will make them faster and run longer. Some foods are going to make them tired and not be able to, play with their friends as long as they wanted to because they're exhausted and they gotta sit down because their breathing is labored. The bottom line is that not everyone in the world, kids, wants you to feel happy, energized, alive, strong, and to fulfill your dreams. Many of those people make this fake food stuff, and so as a family, we're going to stay away from it because we want you to fulfill your dreams. We want you to live your life to the highest level, free of disease and dysfunction, if at all possible. And so we keep this junk out of the house, and we go places and we choose real food when we go out, eat out at restaurants. We make a point, to abstain from getting tummy aches and enjoy our time together. When we go on vacation, we look for places that have real food. We don't just, eat chips and crackers and cookies, say we're on vacation, doesn't matter anymore. because we know that food is medicine, kids, and it's everywhere 24/7. So it's imperative that we constantly instruct our children what is and isn't food. Parents, you can so do this. Grandparents, you can do this too. Your kids are so worth it. I know you know this. So please like, share, comment, subscribe. Any thoughts, any questions you have, please put them below. Love to hear them. A good discussion is always fantastic, and I'm always up for it because we want to mobilize our kids to eat to live and to enjoy literally just the fullness that can be life. And food is information for life or death. So I'm Dr. Matt. I hope this is helpful. I hope you feel empowered. Don't feel judged, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to support you. And every kid that's healthy, every kid that wants the fruit, the vegetable, the meat, the nuts and seeds, rather than the Skittles and Starbursts and Capri Suns, all that, just makes it easier on me and parenting my kids. So let's do this together. Let's enable our kids to prosper in their health. Talk to you guys later.